I think everyone needs to
Okay, I
mute
can
them.
hear you now. Can you go on?
Okay, so I was saying, what if I create a situation where they don't have to, sign in? They can just, register. They can just fill in the details, and then I pass it to the database, and just parents need to sign in, and then see teachers who have filled the form. And
I
then
didn't
choose.
get that, please. Can you just type it out? It would be easier if I read it. Maybe I'm muting myself. I'll be back in a jiff, please.
Let me type it out.
Yeah.
Guys, please, who can be as honest as I am? I don't understand. Please raise up your hand. Like, you don't know anything that much, like I do. Okay, I can see some hands.
Let me see.
It's with me. I was actually thinking maybe I was the only person that didn't grab everything.
So what part of it don't you understand?
No, boss, I would definitely get everything when I watch videos. I'm a slow-paced person, so but just flow.
The record will help us. The record will help us. Don't worry. Just continue, sir.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Exactly. So this is why I didn't want to. It's actually a lot of information packed into very short, and the projects you're working on require all of these things, and it's why I am not in support of those projects. I don't think you guys are at a place where you should be doing those projects yet. Well, I mean, that's my own opinion. But then this really isn't a lot to think of, really. So now that we're making our so we want to do the login part. And for the login part, we're going to have to, so we've created our actions. If you understand what's going on here, we've created an action for getting the login page and for posting it. And then we're going to go into our views. So we're going to go into our models and create a login request model. Remember when we wanted to sign up, we created a sign up request model which takes the email, password, and confirm password. I was thinking of a situation where instead of creating rules because of time, I just create a form for teachers to fill without signing in. Then I pass it using, I just create one-way authentication for the parents where they see the details of the teachers. Yeah. Okay, yeah, that's possible too. I mean, we're going to get there. So we're using the loan providers example, and it's basically the same flow. We're going to put things in our database. So to sign in, we need to create a model for sign in too, just as we created a model for signing up. So I'm just going to click here, I'll say new file, login request model. It's CS and namespace. And public class, again, request model. And then, so what are the things a user should supply when they want to log in? One is the email. So you pass in your username and password, right? Or your email and password, whichever applies in that situation. So I have this. I can now come to my controller and say, hey, when someone wants to log in, they need to pass in these two things. So login request model. Perfect. And then we can now do whatever we want to do with the login request model here. Before we can test this, we need to create a view. And remember how to create a view. You go to the views folder, the controller folder, and then I'll say new file, login.cshtml. I'm going to take all the code from the register box because really they're the same thing. I'm going to put it here, except that the model changes. So instead of using create user request model, this time I'm using login request model. Remember to do that. Most of this is going to remain the same. So I still have an email field there. I still have a password field. So I'm going to take this out because I don't need to confirm passwords to login, right? I'll take this out. And then I'm going to change this to login instead of register. Now this href goes to the let's just leave this. I don't know what this link, where this links are supposed to go. This is member login. Let's change this to member sign up. So let's see what this looks like before we proceed. Account controller login. Okay, so we don't have anything here yet, so I'll just say show new not implemented exception. So you can just put this here when you haven't implemented something and you want to test. So I'm just going to leave this here. And there's one thing we forgot to change in our login page. We need to change this to login, title of the page. There's something else I'm forgetting. Yes, we need to change the posts from register. This time we're posting to login. And I'll just run this. Great, it's running. So browser, so /account/ instead of register this time, we're going to /login. Hopefully that works. So we have a login page, right? It has member login. I have our details here. And if we execute this, we're going to get an exception. I'm just going to fill this in and hit login. And it says not implemented exception. That means, hey, you've not implemented the functionality here. What are you doing? You shouldn't be doing this. So what do we do now? What we need to do is actually go into our database and check that that user exists. I'll close some of this just to give me more work area. So in my account controller, what I need to do now is I need to implement the whole login functionality. For that, the way we use the user manager here for creating users, the way we sign in users into our application is by using something called the sign in manager. So, and it's the same pattern really. Because we added identity to our project, it gives us the sign in manager too. So I'll say private read only. I think it's sign in manager or sign in manager. Sign in manager of application user. Sign in manager. So sign in manager handles users who signed in, who signed out, whose session has expired, and all of those kind of details. And then just the same pattern, I say sign in manager equals sign in manager. This is something called dependency injection. You don't have to think too much about it for now. Well, I have a blog post on dependency injection if you want to read what's really happening when we do all of that. So it's a beginner level article. So here, dependency injection in ASP.NET Core for beginners. It's a pretty straightforward article. It will show you why I am putting all of that in the constructor. I try to use a very basic example for it. I'm dropping a link to it in the conversation now so you guys can check it out. Where's the chat window? No, my blog was written with something called Hexo. It's a static file generator. Okay, great. So now we have sign-in manager. We can use sign-in manager to sign people in. It's a bunch of code, so I'm just going to go grab it from the Visual Studio project I already have open. I don't think spending time typing all of that out is a good spend of time. So on processing, this is the relevant bit of code. I'm just going to take all of this and I'll bring it here and then I'll just explain it as we go. Once again, we have to make this asynchronous and we have to make it a task, just like we did the first one. So we just add the async keyword here and we add the task here. Like I said, once again, you just need to know that this has to be done. It's not really necessary to go into the details of it yet. And just properly format the code. We don't need all of this for now. Great, so what's going on here? We have our sign-in manager, which we're trying to use as password sign-in. So sign-in manager has a method. I'll just type this at the top. So we have result equals await underscore sign-in manager. Sign-in manager is the class we imported, dot password sign-in, and we are telling it here we want to sign in with a password. And we need to tell it who we're trying to sign in or which email we're trying to sign in. So we say model.email, which is the email the person supplied us. And then we need to tell it what password to use. And we say model.password, so the password the person types in. And then we need to tell it sometimes for some really secure applications, if you try to sign in a number of times and it fails, it locks you out and it tells you, oh, you can't sign in. And the way C# does that is this lockout on failure thing you see down here. So I'm just going to say no matter how many times the person tries to log in, if they can't log in, don't lock them out. I'll say lockout on failure is false. So if I set this to 2, lockout on failure, okay. If I set this to 2, after about 4 or 5 times of trying to log in, it's going to lock you out of your account and then you have to contact an admin. Why is that? Oh, okay. So there's a remember me part. So some websites have the option for you to specify if you want to be remembered or not. When you come back, I'm just going to set that to false now. And then when I try to log in, 1 or 2 things can happen. It's either it's successful and that user is logged in, or it is not successful. So I'm saying if it is successful and that user is signed in, I'll just redirect them to the index page as we did before. So I'm just going to take this and redirect them to our home page. So I'll just redirect them to our home page. And if it fails, I'm just going to put a model error and says invalid login attempt. So that's 2 situations. I'm going to put a breakpoint here so we can debug this and see what happens, basically. Are you guys still following me, or am I alone?
We're still here.
Okay.
Yeah, it's it.
All right, great. So this is how to use the sign-in manager. I'm going to run the project now in debug mode. Okay, so I'm going to go to slash account slash login. So we'll try to log in with some of the accounts we created. So we use my Gmail and we use super secret password. And that's it. So we use this and I'm going to say login. And it has hit my breakpoint. I'm just going to confirm that I have the relevant details in my, so I have my username and password. And I'm just going to skip through here. And what's happening here is it's actually coming to this database. It's actually coming into the database here to check if that user exists. And then it takes that password that I've passed in, it's going to rehash it and then compare the hash. And if it all checks out, our result is going to be succeeded. So see, we have succeeded as 2 because that user exists. And what's going to happen when I hit continue is it's going to, continue. It's going to take us to, so it brings us here and it's asking us, oh, do we want to save these details? Because it recognizes that a login has happened. Now, we're now able to create users and log them in. Now, how do we protect certain places from people that are not logged in? Now, it's possible for anyone anywhere to view this page. I'm going to open an incognito window or a guest window. And I'm going to come to this link. And it's possible for you to see this link, right? But let's say I want only logged in users or people that are authenticated to be able to see this page. The way to do that, it's very simple with C#. All I have to do is I'll stop running my application. So after stopping my application, I'll just I'll go to the controller I want to restrict access to. So I want to restrict access to home controller. I want only logged in people. And all I have to do is add this, authorize. I'll just bring in the relevant namespace. And that's it. Now, if you're not logged in, you can't access this, this page. To test that out, let us, let's just run this again. I don't know, did you guys get the link I shared? I just realized I pasted it in waiting room. So here's the link to the article on the dependency injection. So I'll come to this, the guest window I opened, and I'll try to hit this page and see that this time this time I can't access that page. It's trying to redirect me to our login page, but the path here is incorrect. So what happens when I try to go to that, when I try to go to index, host 5001. So what happens when I go here now is it tries to redirect me to my login page because I'm not logged in. The way to correct this is we need to come into our application and correct our login endpoints. Let's just do that very quickly. So we do that here. Options dot and so these are some of the other things you can configure, right? So from here, you can tell it if the password should have a digit. So you just have to set this to true or false. So if it should have a lowercase, if it should have, so basically you can set your password strength here. What I'm trying to do here is just options dot sign in the cookies. Give me a second. Let's do that. Let's call 3.1 and points. Okay, so authorized page. That's it. So while we're at it, if I remember how to change that, I'm just going to come back to it. But essentially what's happening here is because we don't have a logged in user, when we try to access this page, because the user is not logged in, it tries to redirect the person to the login page. Now the path is not correct. I was looking for where to correct it, but basically it's trying to log the user, redirect the user to the account/login page. And it just, so when you're not authenticated, it just brings you to the login page. Now let's log in and see if we can actually go to our default page. And then password is super secret password, right? Okay, this is password, and now I say login. And see, I can access my my welcome page again. I'm going to come into my developer tools and basically just delete the cookie. So what happens is remember how I say for an API, it sends a token. For a web app, it sends a cookie. I'll show you guys where that cookie is. Cookie is, I think it's in memory or the application. Okay, so your browser has different types of storages. And so it sends a cookie to your browser that basically identifies you. So this is a cookie sent by a website, and your identity is within this cookie. And this is how your browser knows that, okay, this person is logged in. And then when you make a request to your application, this cookie is sent back with every request. If I delete this cookie, I'm going to go ahead and delete this cookie. Clear all. Let's see if there's anything in local storage too. I'll just clear all the cookies that and then I'll try to refresh this page and see it's taking me back to the login page. Because I've deleted the cookie, now there's nothing to send back to this application to tell the application that, oh, I was signed in before. So it's telling me, hey, you're not signed in, sign in. So that is how authentication works. Your browser is always sending back that cookie. Now that is why if you hand me your system and you're logged into certain sites, I can go into your browser and steal your cookies. I know where those cookies are on your system. And all I have to do is steal those cookies. Maybe you're logged into PayPal and I steal your PayPal cookie. All I have to do is just put it in my application, go to PayPal's transfer money part, and that's it. I have access to your account. It's as simple as just stealing your cookie. So that is how this works. This example just illustrated sign up, sign out. I'm going to post it. I'm going to post these videos right after this lecture. I think there are about 4 of them, so I might have to join them, do some cutting and some joining, and then that's it. So this is how authentication in ASP.NET Core works. This is how the whole token chain works. And the next part of this really is to do the logout part, because right now what we had to do here is to delete the cookie. But there's a standard way to do logout. I mean, you don't expect your users to go in and start deleting cookies. So there's a standard logout flow, which we're going to talk about, not now, because I need to jump on a different call now. But you guys can schedule a time. If you would prefer physical lectures like this to me recording them, I think I'll prefer it this way too. So you guys can just let me know when you're free, or please talk to Sophie. Sophie can do all of that arrangements, and you can just let me know a convenient time for you. Thank you. You guys can unmute yourself and just go nuts.
Yes, can I ask a quick question before you go?
Okay, what's the question?
Okay, for me, I'm not actually part of the project. I actually had to drop the project because I wanted to focus on the C# and see if I could understand the basics and flow with it properly. So I want to know, since for the first, second, and third videos you've released, considering that you've done this series now, this authentication and everything you've done, I was able to get some part of it. Will you still go back to the flow, the curriculum, everything step by step?
Yes. So for those videos, I would still talk about authentication and authorization and all of that. This was just a very fast crash. So for people that are doing projects, basically, you just give them something to work with.
Okay. I think that settles my doubt.
Yes, Leo, it's still intact. Our lecture schedule is still intact. Don't worry. This is just like a break off.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Vincent, please, I have a question. How are we going to host it eventually? Because I don't know, some of these free hosting packages, do they allow us to just move database files from our local down there?
So the way to host is really Azure. So Azure has a lot of stuff. So you just go to portal.azure.com. I'm hoping in my last videos, in my next video, I'm actually going to host an application. I recorded some of them already, but I need to do some edits, some cuts, and joins eventually. But don't worry about that. We'll host in Azure. Yes, you can use Heroku. Can you put Docker containers on Heroku? But yes, you can. I'm sure there's a way you can use Heroku. Okay, guys, it's ending. So what other questions you guys have, you can just drop it on Slack. I'll do my best to respond to them. It was great having you guys. I'll let you know when the videos are uploaded. Thank you for coming.
Sir, I think some persons dropped questions on that sheet you dropped earlier. There's this Google Docs you dropped earlier, and some questions are still there.
Okay.
So I don't know if you can
delete it now and then restart it and then take those questions. So we're not going to be coding, we're just going to be taking those questions.
It's okay. Thank you so much.
Okay.